Wanted to talk about Cisco Systems. CSCO is the stock ticker symbol. Cisco stock has popped up a little bit today. They've announced a $1 billion AI investment fund. Now, first, I look at the economy as a whole and ask the question, would a specific stock be a value investment given the economic indicators? Our economy looks like it's going to start slowing down. I believe all stocks are going to fall lower. Given that, Cisco stock, it's already undervalued relative to other investments. The news announcement today popped Cisco stock up a bit higher. Maybe there's something there. Regardless, I'd be looking to get back into stocks once we see some kind of sell-off and after the slowdown in the economy. Cisco Systems is interesting. Let's jump in and I'll show you some charts I'm looking at for Cisco Systems stock. Here's a good look at Cisco Systems stock, CSCO, 2-hour bar chart. You could see the news announcement for the latest financials, then a major sell-off, then, of course, the most recent spike higher in because of the announcement for the AI investment fund. Now, I think that's short-lived. I believe, and I start all my analysis with the economy. We're seeing plenty of signs that this economy is slowing down. All assets will start to sell off as they adjust to an economy that is growing less rapidly. Not recession. I'm not calling for a recession right now today. We don't have enough information for that. But instead, what I'm calling for is growth at a slower pace than it was before, which was hyper big growth. All right, given that, Cisco Systems, the stock itself, probably going to go further lower. Let's take a bigger look at Cisco Systems. I could easily see Cisco dropping down between 30 and 40 per share off the $46 we're sitting at right now. Breaking down Cisco Systems itself, now, if Cisco stock actually went that low, it's already undervalued. It's lost a lot of sentiment. It's lost a lot of momentum given shortcomings from the past. And I've got the charts that I'll show you on that, where we've seen growth deteriorating, but growth is turning back around. So where it is right now, it's underpriced. And if Cisco Systems were to push forward and get those revenue goals that they're striving for, as well as earnings, the stock would move higher. The problem is the economy is going to get in the way. And I believe that a savvy investor would step back and look for that opportunity probably March, April, May of next year, when the stock market's probably sold off significantly because of a slowing economic landscape. And from there, Cisco stock will move back upward. Maybe not see some of the hyper growth we've seen in other stocks, but those stocks are probably going to be contained. Let's break down some of the numbers here. Assets, $123 billion, cash on hand, $19.5, liabilities, $77, giving a total equity of $45 billion. Market capitalization versus the stock sharehold brings in 192 for market capitalization. 250 is the enterprise value, breaking down market capitalization, liabilities, taking out cash on hand. Price to earnings ratio, this is low, 16.12. Price to sales, price to cash flow, you can see there, and price to book, 4.22. Looking at price to earnings, Cisco Systems has been low for some time. It's undervalued, as I've mentioned before. Price to sales comes in pretty close to moderate level, slightly below the average. Price to cash flow, this is slightly low for a company of this sort, and it is improving. Price to book is sliding somewhat. Moving forward, here is quarterly revenue. You can see the big drop we've seen in the past 2 quarters. Although Q3 was slightly lower than Q2, it's an improvement as to what the broader economy was looking for. Broader stock market. Projected revenues, looking for 53.6, then 55.4 in 2025. Cisco Systems is really kind of a turnaround story. They're not quite there yet relative to where they were in 2023, but they're still improving the numbers based on previous quarters. Growth rates are really low. Revenue increases are low. Maybe the AI story would push Cisco stock higher, but I'd be wanting to get more juice and look for, say, 30 to 32.5 out of the stock price. Net margins 14.9%. This is pretty low as well, as you can see, but it still outperforms the broader stock market. The S&P 500 prints about 10.75% for the Q1 2024 so far. So Cisco Systems is printing some pretty solid net margins. Projected earnings per share, $3.70 for 2024, which is a pretty good improvement over the previous few years, although hasn't recapped over top of 2023. Then $3.55, sliding more for 2025 according to what analysts are looking for. But this is how I break it down. Looking at the price at 46, earnings per share the next 4 quarters. We already printed Q1 in 2024, so 2, 3, and 4, then Q1 2025. You can see 347. The Treasury yield is 4.45% right now. That's your benchmark comparison. And that's actually starting to slide lower because of economic indicators where we're seeing the economy slow down. Regardless, Cisco, the yield on Cisco Stock CSCO is much higher. But that doesn't mean the stock will move higher. I put all my eggs in the economy first and foremost when it comes to analysis. This economy is slowing down. The Federal Reserve does not have the luxury of lowering interest rates right now, despite the fact inflation will likely hit that 2% target rate that they've been looking for. The presidential election, 5th of November, they have a meeting on the 6th and 7th. The Federal Reserve has a meeting on the 6th and 7th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday of this year, November. The presidential election is on Tuesday. The Federal Reserve is not going to want to get in front of the presidential election. They will leave interest rates exactly where they are. That could be a bit damaging. We're seeing signs of a slowing economy. We're going to start seeing signs of increasing unemployment. Eventually, 2 things. Inflation hits the target rate that the Federal Reserve is looking for, number 1. Number 2, the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates, which means your comparison level for the 10-year Treasury at 4.45 drops. Maybe the Treasury rate goes as low as 3.25, 3%, 2.75%. All of a sudden, that 7% out of Cisco is looking real sweet. But the broader stock market will have already sold off, which means if Cisco Systems could hit that 347, which I don't believe they will, I don't believe any of these stocks are going to hit because of the slowing in the economy, and analysts have not adjusted for those prices yet. Cisco would be a pretty solid buy at lower numbers down the road. I'm looking to get back into stocks January, February, March, April, May. We'll probably see a lot of selling in the stock market between now and then. That's what I'm looking for based on how the economy's sort of evolving at this point. Cisco stock itself, I see probably dips a lot further along with all other stocks. I don't see a lot of these companies hitting their revenue or their earnings projections simply because those are based on another economic environment or landscape. Cisco will sell off alongside, but if Cisco were to turn back around and start to see its numbers improving with revenue and earnings, that 347 is going to look pretty nice. Make sure to hit the like and follow button to keep in touch with what's going on with Cisco stock. I'll see you in the next video.